September 6, when history never stops repeating. This morning, September 6th. At Ukraine's eastern border, the sound of artillery fire persists. In Moscow, President Vladimir Putin declares, no agreement can be reached on key issues. He warns, any foreign forces present in Ukraine will be legitimate targets. On the other side, in Kyiv, the Ukrainian government appeals to the West. We need security guarantees immediately. On production lines, Bodana's self-propelled howitzers are being welded and assembled around the clock, preparing for what everyone fears but no one dares name, a war with no way out. In the Middle East, Israel marks 700 days since Hamas took hostages. Candles burn in front of the parliament building. Black and white photos line Tel Aviv's squares. An elderly mother stands amid police barricades, holding a hastily written sign. 700 days. My child still isn't home. In Asia, Thailand has just appointed a new prime minister, who announces he will dissolve the House of Representatives within the next 4 months. A decision seen as either courageous or reckless, in a context of a faltering economy and tensions with Cambodia stretched taut like a wire. All on the same day, on the same planet. One side tries to save hostages, another pours more ammunition into war, yet another prepares for elections. But the strange thing is, if we rewind time to this same day years ago, history has struck this same rhythm before. A ruler gunned down, a church reduced to rubble and blood, the first war machine rising, and a ship for the first time returning after circling the globe. Is humanity simply replaying its old songs? Or is history trying to tell us something we've never truly listened to? As Putin speaks, television cameras in Moscow pan across his face, no longer showing the weariness of before. His voice is slow, steady, and cold. We tried to negotiate, but they don't want peace, they want victory. That's how he sees the world. No compromise, only winners and losers. In Ukraine, President Zelensky appears in his olive-green military uniform. He doesn't directly respond to Putin's warning, saying only, "We don't need anyone telling us when to surrender." In machine shops, young engineers upgrade the Bodana howitzers. The first artillery designed by Ukraine, capable of firing over 40 kilometers, it's called a national pride, and the trump card in a war of attrition. But what sends chills is this. On the gun barrels, many soldiers have carved phrases like, "This is a promise," for my mother still hiding from bombs. Meanwhile, in Gaza, an 8-year-old boy asks his mother, "What's a hostage, Mom?" She doesn't answer. She only looks toward the other side of the wall, where Tel Aviv's yellow lights flicker. 700 days have passed since Hamas took hostages. 700 days, and Israel still hasn't brought them all home. In prayer gatherings, people read the names of each hostage, as if calling their souls across the desert. One nation haunted by the word time, another haunted by the word weapons. And in the middle of it all, the world seems accustomed. Accustomed to opening phones each morning to see war, and going to bed each night to images of blood and tears. In Bangkok, Thailand's new prime minister declares before parliament, "I will dissolve the House within the next 4 months. We need to start anew." His words echo in a country caught between two generations, one seeking stability and another craving change. History perhaps always begins like this, with a sentence that seems small but is enough to shift an era. On another September 6th, over a century ago, in Buffalo, USA, President William McKinley was shaking hands with citizens at an exhibition. A man stepped forward, a gun hidden in his sleeve. 2 shots. McKinley collapsed. Days later, he died, and the world witnessed the birth of a new era, American interventionism. From then on, the U.S. no longer stood on the sidelines of conflicts. One assassination, ushering in a century of wars. 2 shots, and the world changed color. On another September 6th, in 1999, in East Timor, a group of people fled into Suai Church. They carried crosses, prayers, and the belief that this place would be protected by God. But when the militia arrived, gunfire rang out inside the church. Over 200 people died. It's called the Suai Church Massacre, a wound in Southeast Asia that has never healed. But go further back. On September 6, 1915, in England, the first prototype tank in human history was tested. A heavy, roaring machine, crawling like an iron beast, but it ushered in a new era of warfare. From then on, the concept of a defensive line became a joke. And humanity officially entered an age where machines killed faster than compassion could intervene. Even further back, September 6, 1522. After 3 years adrift at sea, the ship Victoria, one of 5 from Magellan's expedition, returned to Spain. Only 18 survivors remained, but they made history, the first humans to circumnavigate the globe. They returned not just with spices and gold, but with a truth that changed human perception. The Earth truly is a circle. From then on, we began to push boundaries, challenge oceans, and then, after going far enough, we returned to kill each other over a small line on land. From 1522 to 1915, from 1999 to 2025, the locations differ, but the story remains the same. One side speaks of peace, another of sovereignty. One calls it justice, another calls it self-defense. But the blood is still red and the pain is no less on either side. Some say, history repeats because humans refuse to learn. But perhaps more accurately, history repeats because humans only learn what they want to believe. On this September 6th, as Putin speaks of legitimate targets, as Israel counts the days of its hostages, as a Thai prime minister promises to start anew, it all sounds so different. But if you look far enough, you'll see. These are just new chapters in the old book called Human History. And perhaps one day, when someone years from now opens this video, they'll say the same thing we're saying today. The world hasn't changed much, just different people, repeating the same old mistakes.